6. What's up, guys? It is Justin Coffin for the 330 Sports Show. Joe Danier across from me. It is Thursday, June 6th, 2024. Here's what we're going to be talking about today. The big news topic, which is actually great for the WNBA, is Caitlin Clark, and the WNBA has been in the news, which is a rarity, whether it's good news, bad news, it's publicity, right? So we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk the NBA finals start tonight, Dallas Mavericks, Boston Celtics. I put together 2 years ago, the Celtics played the Golden State Warriors, and a couple friends of mine and we put together the best Boston Celtics of all time. And over the last couple days, I just was texting a few people, and we put together an all-time Dallas Mavericks team. So we're going to talk about that. Wheel of Fortune. Tomorrow is Pat Sajak's last Wheel of Fortune show. I think it's like 49 years he's been doing it. Like, you couldn't have stuck around one more year, Pat. So, but we're going to talk about some of the funnier moments in Wheel of Fortune. Joe might even solve a few of the categories. So we'll see about that.
Are there any traditional game shows that you are good at that if you watch it, you could play along with them?
I could not beat on the buzzer Jeopardy people, but I think I could do pretty well if it's like a variety of categories. If it's like English literature and like art history, I would do terrible. But if it's like a bunch of other random topics, I feel like I'm pretty good at it. I feel like I'm beyond like an average person on that. I have a bunch of useless knowledge up here. But like to beat those people are so fast. So in the actual game sense, I don't think so. How about you?
Terrible at it.
Well, Jeopardy.
See, I can, but I'm more of like a answer the question, and I'm like, you're supposed to phrase it as I'm like, damn it. Like,
yeah. Like what is, who is, yeah.
But I think Sean Connery and what was it, Tom Selleck or
Turd Ferguson.
Ferguson.
Yeah, but when the Burt Reynolds.
That's it. That's awesome.
Yeah, and then Celebrity Jeopardy was so good. Yeah, if it's Celebrity Jeopardy or Kids Jeopardy or College Jeopardy, I can really, I think with the kids, I'll mop the floor with the kids, but like celebrities, I think me and you could handle them too.
Totally.
But Wheel of Fortune's kind of a game of luck and chance, but there is some skill involved in that. I think I could do pretty well on that. But like, I don't watch a ton of game shows right now, but I like trivia stuff and stuff like that. So if one pops on here and there, I think it'd be a lot of fun to be on Family Feud. I think that would be a really fun, like if I had to pick a game show, I'd probably say that one, but we'll see. So would you ever have interest on being on a game show?
Oh, that'd be great.
Yeah.
I love that kind of stuff. Like, we grew up on Price is Right. So that I have like that, fantasy about one day when I'm not sick being on Price is Right.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a good point. I didn't even have the Price is Right on my radar, but that one's fun. The one that would make me so nervous is that yodel. Yeah, and you have like $25.
Yep.
Like that's all you can be off of over 3 prizes or something, and that the anxiety level builds up on that one. It's fun to watch other people either succeed or fail on that, though.
Yeah, we knew somebody that was on one of those game shows, and they won a car as part of the Price is Right deal.
Yeah.
They had to write a $9,000 check to the state of California to pay the taxes before they even took it.
Yeah.
And they couldn't afford it. So they had to sell the car, right, to pay the taxes. And they got to keep the difference.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. That I don't really know how all that works, but there was a cool Netflix documentary on this guy that was able to cheat the system with the Price is Right way back when. And he got it like exactly when both showcases nailed all the stuff. And it was pretty cool how he like cheated the system. So that's pretty cool.
Game show hacker.
I know. Why not?
That's awesome.
But like, we'll move on from the game shows and revisit Wheel of Fortune in a minute. But do you have like a random one that pops out? Like, I think the main couple, Jeopardy, Wheel of Fortune, Price is Right. Like if people are thinking of 3, I think those are probably the 3 most popular. or maybe even Family Feud. You throw that in there. Do you have like a random one you used to watch?
One of my favorites was that Whammies one. I forget what it was called.
Press Your Luck.
Press Your Luck.
Yes. I remember watching, and I think they even brought that back for like, a time here and there. I think what's a Deal or No Deal would be kind of cool, because there is some like, do I get out? But it's totally luck. You might have a penny, you might have $1 million, but at the end of the day, you got to say, hey, what's your financial situation? What are you comfortable walking away with?
Yeah.
So,
and they have 50 hot chicks with suitcases in front of you.
Was there 26?
All
I
right.
think. I'm just saying, like from what I remember, maybe 50, maybe 26.
We'll take 50.
I don't know.
We'll go with mine. 50 is better than 26.
Okay. Yeah. I'd rather. Yeah. That sounds good. But the one random one we used to watch, and I don't even know what network it was on, Supermarket Sweep.
I remember that one. Yeah,
they would have to like go around and throw stuff in the shopping cart and like try to get the most money. Yeah. So people would just be like baby formula,
steak, baby formula, diaper.
Exactly. What's the most expensive? Throw it in.
Yep.
But then they would have missions during the show. So yeah, random but fun. So
nostalgia here on
exactly.
the Sports
No,
Show.
I think that we could probably dedicate an entire episode to just game shows and have some fun with that. So we'll do that maybe in the future. But again, here's what's on tap today. We're gonna lead off with Caitlin Clark in the WNBA, because that has been a very hot button issue for many reasons. And Joe, I know you're on 570 and you do a lot of political shows from time to time, especially if you're in for like Dan Rivers and stuff like that. And that's a very conservative radio station, but there's also like some liberal points of view. And so there's some right, there's some left. But I wanted to get your opinion on just before we get into like this side, that side, whatever, just your overall take on the Caitlin Clark phenomenon. We've talked about her college, like the college presence, the run, the back-to-back years, getting to the Final Four. And she has brought such an attention and such a spotlight to college basketball, but now the WNBA. So just your overall thoughts on her and like the phenomenon that goes around with her.
This appeals more to my marketing senses, that when you get delivered somebody who draws attention to your brand, and I don't really even care why. Like we could take the XFL, and I want that brand to be successful.
Yeah.
But literally, I couldn't name you anybody that was on any of those teams, because nobody's a standout. Nobody has any controversy. And the only sort of like competitor with the NFL was back when, remember He Hate Me?
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
It took a person that became radioactive for people to pay. And it didn't matter that they freaking hated him. And he literally said, hate me on his jersey.
Yeah.
And so I think that's what all of these competitive sports needs, is they need standouts. They need personalities to get people watching.
Yes. And I'm going to save that point for just a minute, because I think what you're saying is you kind of need a hero, but you also need some villains.
Yes.
And that's what's going on in the WNBA right now. So I want to lead off just with this, though. And just let's start with basic numbers, because we all know numbers are what draw the money that comes into the league. So Caitlin Clark plays on the Indiana Fever. Okay. They broke last season's total home attendance in 5 games. So last year, their home attendance was 4,066. Now, I believe, and somebody out there can correct me if I'm wrong, I believe they play a 40-game regular season, 20 and 20, home and away. So this year, there are about 17,000 people, butts in the seats, fans in the stands, compared to last year, 4,066 at this exact same time. So they're playing in front of sold out crowds every night that Caitlin Clark is in the arena, whether it's in Indianapolis, whether it's in Los Angeles or, Connecticut, whatever arena it might be in, she brings people out, and there's zero denying that. None. And, her presence has lifted up the league, and these players, so whether it's Sabrina, one of the better players in the league, whether it's, this Kennedy Carter, who we're going to talk about in a minute, who I didn't even know who she was until she got in this altercation with Caitlin Clark. So no matter the player that is, it's lifting up the league as a whole. Did you ever hear that, like, rising tides lift all ships? It's like, that's what she's doing. Just her presence is going to make all these players more money. They were flying like standard coach before this year. Now they're all on chartered flights, like from city to city. So it's like, that's a huge upgrade right there. And just the fact that you don't have to go through security, you don't have to wait through, all this other stuff with the general public. You are flying with your team and whoever else is with the team, and you're in that city, and you don't have to deal with the hassle and the runaround of the general public. So right there, that's a huge win for all the players.
Now, let's just say you're on a team and then you've been playing for 4 years, and all of a sudden this girl comes along, draws all this attention. Do you resent that player for taking the focus away as a peer?
I mean, honestly, no.
Okay.
But I mean, I'm not in that. If I was a WNBA player, and it's hard to put yourself in their shoes, because truly I don't know. But are you talking about as a teammate or a teammate? As a teammate, absolutely not. I'm loving this. It's like all of our games are sold out. We have, I would say, I mean, she's probably in the top 12 players in the league already coming in. She's definitely not one of the top 2 or 3 or 4, but she'll get there. She'll get there. I mean, she was the number 1 pick in the draft. She's going to get there as a player. She's already like rookie of the month. Her numbers have been getting better each game. She struggled, but when she figures it out and it clicks, it's going to be really, really good for her teammates, the rest of the league. And they're competitive. They're in these games. They're not winning a ton, but they're in it, and they weren't a very good team last year. Thus the number one pick.
That's what's so confusing. Like in those conservative circles, it almost feels like they're taking aim at her.
Yeah.
Rather than embracing it and taking advantage like your peers should. It's almost like they're a little jelly belly of someone getting the attention that's a new person coming into the league. And it's exactly opposite of what they should do. They need more of that, not less.
No doubt. So I put this meme up that I saw the other day with the Tanya Harding, Nancy Kerrigan one. It's like, other WNBA players are like eyeing her with envy, and it's like they are really trying to take this girl out. And not all of them. There's a lot of players that have respect for her, but there's a lot there. Did you ever have to go into any club, any organization, any sports team? Now, we know hazing is frowned upon, but everyone gets hazed a little bit some way or another in school, or they used to. And now that's not a popular thing, but like maybe it's just like carrying like the upperclassmen's backpacks or something small. But like most people had to go through some sort of hazing. This is her hazing. However, this hazing is like more physical, and they're beating the hell out of her in a lot of senses. And so what's your thoughts on that? Are they just like, roughing her up a little bit, show her welcome to the league like a rookie, or are they kind of crossing the line, in your opinion? What do you think?
So I've seen it all. I've seen ones that were just like mischievous and like, okay, it's kind of funny. It's a little bit harsh, but whatever. And then I've seen that stuff that's way over the line and is hurtful and whatever.
Yeah.
In that paradigm between those two, I would say this is like right in the middle. It's probably on the extreme side of what's required.
Yeah.
And it could get worse if they don't get it under control. So
yeah. And I have coached girls basketball and high school at a pretty high level. And, the girls get bumps and bruises throughout the season. That's part of the game. Like they fall down, you fall on that court. It's hard, that's literally hard wood. But you're getting bumps, you're getting bruises naturally throughout the season. But like, it's the unnecessary, like cheap shots for me that it's like, it's not part of the game. If you're boxing her out and you put her ass on the floor, that's one thing. But if, if you just deck her while she's not looking, that's totally another thing. So
just bad sportsmanship. Honestly.
Exactly. Yeah. And that's a totally other thing. So I found this picture the other day, and you just see her knees and her elbows and the bruising that she's gone through. And you have to think too, she just went through an entire college season that finished up in mid-April. She gets drafted like a week later, and then like a week of training camp, and then you're right into the season. Like, think about an NBA player doing that. Like, you play a whole college season, like they get the summer off, or to train or prep their bodies or to heal from the college, to basically prepare for the season. These girls that go from college right into the WNBA are thrown right into the fire. So
tell me if this is a figment of my imagination, because I am unsure.
Yeah.
The era where Dr. J played,
Mhm.
were there teams that played with knee pads, like bright colored knee pads and headgear? Did I make this shit up, or is that
there was a lot of knee pads? Yeah, I would say even into the 80s, especially on like the big guys. That some are braces, but some are probably just for.
I'm gonna find a picture because I swear it's seared into my brain.
I have, like, in my mind, I have Robert Parrish, who played for the Celtics, like in my brain. He would always wear like these knee pads that were, cover up everything. And obviously you're going to get bumps and bruises, but some people would, but I know who you're thinking. There you go. Even Shaq right there.
Oh, there you go.
80s.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, Bill Walton, who we just talked about last week, had passed away.
But
Magic
I'm trying to think of the player.
him.
He wore eyeglasses, like the
Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
But might have been Kareem. Yeah,
it was probably Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. It was a lot of the big guys that would wear them. And even like Magic Johnson was 6'10", 6'9". He's a point guard, but he's a big dude. So yeah, it was definitely Kareem. Maybe not in that picture, but he wore them. Look up Robert Parrish and just see some of his. Well, while Joe's doing that, here's some things that came up with the WNBA last week. The WNBA, it was like the Chicago Sky and the Indiana Fever. That's Angel Reese's team. She was like her big rival at LSU while at Iowa. But the Sky's Kennedy Carter now plays on her team for the Chicago Sky. They were fined. They were assessed Kennedy Carter was assessed a technical foul, and also the team was fined $5,000 for not ensuring players comply with media practices. But this was a big deal and much to do, because they were basically calling out her, saying she's not the main reason people are watching the games. It's like, yeah, exactly. Total bullshit. And they went after her. And the thing that drove me nuts is, like, once they like kind of like, dropped the shoulder, elbowed her to the floor, Angel Reese, who was her big nemesis in college, they beat Iowa for the national championship 2 years ago. This past year, Iowa beat them before eventually losing in the national championship game. But they just don't like each other, And so here's something Angel Reese said, and this makes me laugh, and I want to hear what other people have to say. But Clark was the first overall pick. Reese, a very good player in her own, was the 7th pick. Caitlin Clark is seen as the face of women's basketball. Angel Reese, in my opinion and others' opinion, is angry that she is not the face of the WNBA. Caitlin Clark signed a $28 million shoe deal and was 2-0 versus Reese this past year. And Angel Reese is doing just fine, but there was a quote that came out, and this is from Angel Reese. She said, "We got celebrities coming to games, sold out arenas. The reason why they're watching women's basketball is not just because of one person. It's because of me too. And I want y'all to recognize that." So the thing about that quote that drove me nuts is, it's because of me too. Could you imagine if she said, it's because of us too, the amount of support she would have got back from the teammates and a lot of players in the league? But she had to drop the me instead of we. And I think that is where that looks bad on her. So
You know what it reminds me of?
Yeah, no.
And I remember the dude, but it was probably one of the Grammys where Taylor Swift went up there and he grabbed the mic.
Oh, it's
and
Kanye. That's
Kanye. Okay. And he points
Yeah.
said, but Beyonce,
Yeah.
like it feels that.
But
Steal
Beyonce
my
had the
moment.
best record of the year. Taylor, I'm gonna let you finish. No. And okay. I'm glad you brought that up because Taylor Swift and Caitlin Clark are of what race?
They are white girls.
Well, they are white. Angel Reese and Kanye West and Beyonce are.
They would be African American and black
Yes.
girls.
Okay. So I'm gonna bring up the race thing because I think it's a valid point. It's not racist. It's a factual, obvious thing here.
Right.
Okay. Most of the players in the WNBA that are the superstars, the better players, not all, most are black women. Caitlin Clark comes in, skinny little white girl, comes into the WNBA. She is taking a lot of the spotlight. I can understand where you said there might be some animosity, some jealousy there. Totally understandable. But I think in this sense, we do have a little bit of a white girl basketball player and versus, a black culture type thing. And I, whatever you guys can come at me for not, I'm just saying, I really think it's a race issue a lot of times with what's happening. So just my thoughts. Do you agree? Disagree? I don't want to put you on the spot, but
no, if you write a narrative where the WNBA struggles and then you get a white savior to come in and rescue it, I can totally see where that's like, we don't need you.
Yeah.
Like we can do it ourselves. So in the narrative, in this climate and culture, I can totally see that. People like you and I, we don't look through that prism. So it's hard to even picture that. But if you were in it day in, day out, and you're like, why aren't they paying attention to us? We're good at this game. We're putting quality games up there. Nobody's in the seats.
Yeah.
Not understanding what's missing from why people aren't paying attention to
exactly. You. And I think, and I think maybe in the sense of, a lot of times, if you look like someone, you can relate to that person, whether you're white, black, Asian, whatever it might be. There's a lot of little girls watching basketball that probably never watched basketball before that can relate to Caitlin Clark, that are coming to these games. And I think that's a valid point too. It's like, she is bringing people to arenas that maybe have never been to a WNBA game. I mean, we're talking in June about the WNBA. I don't know if I've mentioned the WNBA more than like 2 or 3 times in the 4 years of doing this podcast. And
I thought it was a radio station. Honestly.
Radio, like literally whatever.
WNBA.
Yeah, no, literally whatever. Like, but in the nearly 4 years we've been doing this, I mean, can you remember us talking about the WNBA? No.
I couldn't name a player. I didn't know who was in the lead. The teams, when I'm hearing about these, I didn't even know they were franchises. Like, I knew very little.
Yeah, there's only 12 teams. There's only 12 franchises. But again, it's one of those things. It's like, she is bringing eyes. She's bringing, and Angel Reese is too. And so is this Kennedy Carter. And so is a lot of these other girls. It's not just Caitlin Clark, but she is the face of the league. And whether people like it or not, it's going to be that way for a long time. And what Caitlin Clark has done for not just women's sports, not just women's college basketball, but the WNBA and these little kids watching her. I saw a video that went viral the other day of a boy that shot a 3 and made it. And he was like, Clark, like normally you'd be like Jordan or Kobe or LeBron or something like that. It's like he yelled out Caitlin Clark. And this was like a high school kid. Yeah. So I was like, that's kind of a big deal.
But if, let's just say I'm PR for the league. I'm going to that girl who made that whole, like, what about me statement.
Yeah.
And I would say, we're building this brand. And what you said makes fans groan. And the reason why they hate watching entitled people like you. Change your shit.
Yeah.
Right? Be gracious that you get to play in a league, playing a game for a living. Appeal to the fans, and maybe they in their seats. But if you're like you, I don't want to go to a game and see you.
Well, let me push back on that too, because Angel Reese, in her own right, is a very good basketball player. She's one of the top rookies. She's a good-looking girl. She is outspoken, and she's one of those villains we were talking about. Like, I think she could be one of the faces of the WNBA. Her, Cameron Brink, who's a rookie that just came in. There's a handful of these girls that are like really superstar athletes, but there happens to be one girl that has just set the tone. She's a little different than the rest of them.
Well, and I don't mind that.
Yeah.
We had Dennis Rodman. All right. If you're going to be a villain, be freaking crazy, not be like unpalatable to the regular fan. That's my advice.
Oh, so we're talking like Draymond Green, Joakim Noah. Do you remember Joakim Noah? Joakim Noah. I used to hate Joakim Noah, but he was a good basketball player. He was one of those guys you wanted on your team, but hated the other 29 teams in the league hated, because he was an instigator. He was an agitator. Same with Draymond Green. It's like, if he's on your team, you love him, or you love him, and if he's not on your team, you love to hate him. So that's kind of the situation we have going on in the WNBA. But I wanted to at least address it because it's one of the big topics in sports right now, and we'll see how the rest of this season plays out.
Make a prediction. Do you think it escalates? Do you think it popped off by now and at least the animosity's gone?
I think I think it's going to plateau. I think there's going to be other incidents of, maybe like pushing or shoving or maybe getting in some faces. I don't think it's going to escalate to like the punches being thrown or anything like that.
Well, the free pass was given for people to do the same shit because of the attention that brought to that girl.
Yeah, and that's a great point, because it's like, well, she only might have got, she was assessed like a flagrant foul after the fact, like after the game. They looked at it and was like, that's unnecessary. That's not a basketball play. So I can understand that, or maybe other players might, they're not making millions and millions like NBA players.
Yeah, $5,000 fine is a big fine.
That's a huge difference than maybe even an NBA player getting fined 50 grand that makes, 12 million a year or something like that. Yeah. So it's a big difference, but it is what it is. But I will say it has plateaued. There could be some other incidences, but I think players know they can get their names out there. Like, I never heard of this Kennedy Carter beforehand. And just like most people probably hadn't either. And like I said, we're talking about the WNBA on June 6th, 2024. It's relevant, which is good for them and good for their sport. And I hope it continues to grow, because I love basketball. Do I watch WNBA? I have seen 2 of Caitlin Clark's games, so we'll see. But she is entertaining to watch, and maybe the league as a whole will grow from this and bring more eyes to it and entertainment from it. So just another sports outlet to go with. All right, let's switch to the NBA. We are now in the NBA Finals. We have the Dallas Mavericks at the Boston Celtics. That series starts tonight. I believe that game tip-off is 8:30. So the Celtics and the Dallas Mavericks, so the number 1 seed Boston Celtics take on the number 5 seed Dallas Mavericks out of the West. Tatum and Brown versus Doncic and Irving. If I had to pick a duo, I'm going with Doncic and Irving, just because the best player in the league right now as it stands, is Luka Doncic. He is basically a 6'9", 6'10" guard who just does it all. And I'm going to show you some stats here that show you he literally does it all, versus Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, who have been doing this now 6-7 years. They're probably one of the best duos in the league. Jason Tatum is a top 7 NBA player. Jaylen Brown is a top 12 NBA player. But Kyrie Irving, who we've talked about plenty on this podcast before, former Cleveland Cavalier, has done a lot in his time in Dallas, especially this past second half of this year. So if I had to pick one of those two duos, I'm going with Doncic and Irving going forward. But I just want to share this. This was 2 years ago. So 2 years ago, the Celtics and the Golden State Warriors played, and the Celtics were the overwhelming favorite. And Golden State, it was like the last little run they had of that dynasty. And Golden State knocked off the Celtics 2 years ago. But we came up with the top Celtics of all time. And here was the list. And again, this was from 2022. If Jason Tatum wins a title this year, I would add him to this list. He would not be in the starting five, but he would be on this list. So Bob Cousy, JoJo White, John Havlicek, Larry Bird, Bill Russell. You're not going to find a better starting five of all the NBA teams in their histories than that. In the reserves, Sam Jones, Kevin McHale, who anybody that watched Cheers growing up probably saw Kevin McHale on there, whether you like the Boston Celtics or not. Paul Pierce, Dave Cowens, Dennis Johnson, Kevin Garnett, and Robert Parrish, who we talked about with those knee pads earlier on. But I think if Jason Tatum wins the title, he probably replaces Robert Parrish on that list and gets into the all-time Boston Celtics list. So that's my list that I came up with a few buddies, and one of them was a big-time Celtics fan, so he had a lot more input on that than I did for knowledge-wise. Now, I gauged a few people that I'm close with on that have a very, very high basketball acumen on their all-time Dallas Mavericks. And I put together my list, and I put together 25 of the all-time best Mavericks. And then I said, let's narrow this list down to 12, make it like a true best all-time list. And here's what we came up with. So in my opinion, Dirk Nowitzki is the best Dallas Maverick of all time. I think Luka Doncic is number 2. And then you could argue about like 3 down to 12, in my opinion. But if I'm coming up with a starting lineup, I'm putting Luka Doncic and Jason Kidd at the guards. Jason Kidd, by the way, is now the head coach of the Dallas Mavericks. And he was the point guard of their last championship team from 2011 that beat LeBron James, Dwayne Wade, and the Miami Heat. So we're talking 13 years ago. He was the point guard. So that's why I'm putting him in the starting lineup here. Mark Aguirre, who was a little bit before my time, but went back, looked up the stats, an all-time Dallas Maverick. Put him at the forward position. Michael Finley. When I think of Dallas Mavericks basketball, I think of Michael Finley. He was a great player at the University of Wisconsin, then had a really, really great NBA career. And then from the bench, I'm putting in Steve Nash, Rolando Blackman, Jason Terry, Derek Harper, Sean Marion, who you might remember as the Matrix was his nickname, Sam Perkins, who was drafted right after Michael Jordan in the 1984 draft, I believe, and then Tyson Chandler, who was not a huge offensive player, but was a really, really great defensive player for the Mavericks. So those are my all-time Dallas Mavericks, along with the all-time Boston Celtics. If you're putting them against each other, you're going to take the Celtics hands down, but both really, really solid all-time teams there. And then Joe, I know you're not a huge, like, you don't follow basketball and stuff that much, but look at these numbers by Luka Doncic. This is in the NBA players. Of every player that's played in the NBA playoffs this 2024 season, here's where he ranked. He is first in points, first in rebounds, first in assists, first in steals, first in made field goals, first in threes, first in free throws, and first in minutes. So
I see a trend.
He's pretty good. He's pretty good.
Some consistency.
Pretty damn good. So, or as Larry David would say, pretty good. So very, very good stuff. I'm going to ask you for a prediction, even though, I don't know if you care or not, but I'm going to ask you for a prediction. So the series, the Celtics are minus 225. So what that means is you would have to lay $225 to win 100. The Mavericks are plus 185. So if you lay $100, you would win $185. back on top of the 100 you would get back. So obviously the Celtics are the overwhelming favorites to win the NBA Finals. Game 1 is tonight. Celtics are 6.5 point favorites. Game 2 would be Sunday, and then so on and so on. So it's a 2-1-1 or 2-2-1-1-1 format. So first 2 games in Boston, next 2 in Dallas, then back and forth alternating from there. So Joe, just give me your prediction. Celtics or Mavericks, and in how many games?
Surprisingly, this is not an academic guess, but if I think of an Irishman but a Maverick, that the Irishman wins.
Okay.
So I'm going with the Celtics.
Okay. So if John McCain in his heyday is going up against
the drunk Irishman every day. Every
okay.
day.
All right. So I put down on the bottom of this graphic, my head says Boston, my heart wants Dallas. So either way, I think the series is going 7 games. I picked Boston before the playoffs started. So I'm going to go with Boston to win in 7 games, even though I would like the Mavericks to win. We'll just say that. So, BJ, what's your pick?
Dallas in 7.
All right. BJ's going Dallas in 7. Joe and I are going Boston in 7. I hope BJ's right and we are wrong. So we'll leave it at that. All right. We're switching. We're going back to the game shows.
Okay. All right.
We're going back to the game shows. Pat Sajak tomorrow night. Tomorrow night is Friday, June 7th, 2024. He is hanging it up. He's putting his tie, his weird game show host coat. He's hanging it up in the rafters. He is if there's a game show Hall of Fame, he's right up near the top with Alex Trebek and all those other guys that have done this stuff over the years. We've talked about game shows, but if you did have to pick one game show, you can only watch or be on or whatever, one game show the rest of your life, what would it be?
That's a good question. I would say I would need a challenge. So Jeopardy is probably the hardest of all the games. So I'm going Jeopardy.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Jeopardy for me to watch. I don't know. It's like the useless knowledge or like the random facts. I love that stuff. And when you get a final Jeopardy category right, it's like you feel like you are Albert Einstein or something. Like it feels like, damn, I did pretty well.
It's years of watching Discovery Channel and knowing like how much a whale's penis weighs. It finally comes to fruition and you get to answer the question.
What is a whale's penis, Alex? This part of the whale weighs 1,800 pounds. What is the whale's? DJ, don't cut that up in edits.
Loop it.
So how many, just look at it real quick.
Okay.
How many wedges are on that wheel?
40.
I think there's 24.
Really?
I don't know. I'm pretty sure there's 24. For some reason, that number, I'll have to look that up again, but I'm pretty sure there's 24.
Well, I got to look it up in case it's a Jeopardy question.
Yes, there you go. Then you might know. That could be a final Jeopardy question, maybe tomorrow night in honor of Pat Sajak. But yeah, so we'll see. So Joe's gonna look that up and he's gonna confirm or deny my 24. Does it say?
Just tell me how many there are. Jeez. I don't care what they are.
So we got free play, we got bankruptcy, we got the big wedge there, the $10,000 wedge. So 24.
Boom.
Yeah. 24. What is 24?
Hey Alex, what is 24?
For some reason, I don't know why. I think I had heard that before, but yeah. So
good call.
Okay. Can I make sure my screen's up? Okay, because the next thing I want to put up.
I'm so gonna mention it. This is
do you want to intro?
Yes.
What it is?
South Park is my favorite show, and they basically are the only show that's allowed to lampoon everything and everyone.
Yes.
Being as controversial as absolutely possible. So I'm sure they sat around at the boardroom and said, I want to take shots at a game show.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what can we do for a game show? There's a lot of idiots on game shows. Set up to Justin.
Thank you. You teed that up very well for me. So Randy Marsh, who is one of the I think it's Stan, his dad. So one of the kids on South Park, the dad was on Wheel of Fortune, and the category was people that annoy you.
Right.
And in Wheel of Fortune at the end, they give you R, T, S, L, and E. Those are like the given letters. So you get those free. So the 4 consonants and 1 vowel. E is actually the most common vowel in any word in the English language. So a little fact there for you if that's another Jeopardy question. So he then picks B, N, G, O. You get 3 consonants and 1 vowel you can choose from. So this was his final Jeopardy category, and it was people that annoy you. And it was, I mean, I'm just gonna
obviously naggers. Obviously.
And if you watch this episode, there's a black cameraman and he like just peeks out and he's staring at him. And I believe Randy Marsh said, I know the answer, but I don't want to say it.
Yeah.
And then blah, blah, blah. He goes, 10 seconds. So he could have just put in every single, but the answer was naggers. People
and
are
his
nagging
the reaction
but
of,
he said he dropped the dropped the word he shouldn't have. But
it can happen to any of us.
That's an all-time great meme, great moment in cartoon history, if you want, if you will, or just but very, very pop culture reference to Wheel of Fortune. That when I think of Wheel of Fortune and I think of like just funny moments, that's the first thing that I always think of. Now, there's another cartoon. There was several other ones, but I couldn't screen grab them. But this one was from Family Guy, and it was, and I don't even know, but it was an actor and show. And Peter Griffin, who is the main character of Family Guy, goes, I'll take the letter Z, the number 4, 3 Q's, and the Batman symbol. And I don't know if he got it right or not, but I also thought that was pretty funny. So good stuff there. But we're going to do some of the most embarrassing moments in Wheel of Fortune history. So again, Wheel of Fortune kicked off in January 6th, 1975. And as of today, so we're talking basically, what is that, 49 and a half years ago, that are, you're going to be cheating if you're looking at this list.
I'm sorry.
You can't look at this list.
All right, I'm
so I came up with I think there's maybe 8 on here. And then you can, after that, you can pick and choose from some of those other ones. But I'm going to have you, this was a final Jeopardy one. What would you guess this answer would be?
Magic wand?
Magic wand would be correct. So this kid, and that's one of the things that's like, he's seeing, okay, most 99% of America, hopefully 100% of America would get magic right. But then you're looking at blank, A-N-D, you're thinking and he's not saying the ond sound, he's saying and. So he's thinking, mand, wand, fand, whatever it might be, but he couldn't get to that wand.
Well, I could say land, but he already tried L.
Yeah,
so that's off the table.
Exactly. And a lot of times in when you have 10 seconds or not, your brain's going really fast, so you're not quite thinking about it. But yeah, he did not get magic wand.
What did he guess? Do you know?
He guessed everything but wand, basically, because he had that and sound in his head. So yeah, I watched these last night and then I screen grabbed them because, So let me ask you this next one. What do you think this answer would be?
An ugly child.
An ugly child is what they guessed. So I'm putting the answer down that they guessed.
Okay. So what's the, it's a person.
And it is a person.
An only child.
It is an only child. Very good, Joe.
Thank you.
Very good. So, but if you're maybe if you are one of those people that gets real anxious and real nervous, I could see where, you shoot that off real quickly. Then this was one of the funniest moments because this guy, he was from the University of Indiana. He actually guessed, you can see that blue, if you're watching, you can see the C lighting up, and he actually gets mythological hero, and the C comes up in ACHILLES. So he guessed mythological hero, and then he's pronounced it Achilles. Not correct. Obviously, if you have to get the correct pronunciation right. So how would you correctly say that word, Joe? Achilles. So Achilles, and that's where our Achilles.
Phonetically, he was close.
He was close, real close, but not there. So it is what it is. But you lose that, and that's basically a layup for the next person. They get it right.
Yep.
All right. This one is maybe the most famous. And he guessed a group of pill pushers, which everyone laughed, cracked up, would not go against, would be against, the broadcasting, political correctness. What would you think that answer would be? I will say it is a group of, and then blank blank.
It's people.
And it is people is the category. A group of
all.
It took me a little bit, but I figured it out. It took me probably like 10 guesses.
Doll. I don't know this one. I'm going mall or hall or ball, but the last one got me.
You would be incorrect on all of
those. Okay.
What if I told you it was a W?
Wall wash? No.
A group of
wall washers?
well wishers.
Oh, well wishers. No, wall washers is better.
A group of mall washers, a group of whatever.
Wall kissers.
But the fact that he wall kissers.
Wall kissers.
So whatever,
I'm one of them now. Yeah. Damn it. I wasted $50K.
All right, how about this next one? 4 letters.
I will tell you, what's fair though is what letters they chose there. That's meaningful information. And you're depriving me.
That is true. That is very true. This next one, they guessed fish love.
Okay.
But it is blank ISH and then L blank blank blank. Fish love is what they guessed. That was
what's the category? Just make one up.
A thing. Yeah, because I know the answer. A thing.
Fish lips.
A wish list. A wish list. Even though I'm not sure why the other I wasn't lit up, because on list it would be LIST.
Yeah, right.
But it was, so maybe it just the way I grabbed it off the screen, but it was wish list. Yet. Yeah. Okay. So yeah. That, which, hey, maybe that's throwing a little curveball there.
Yeah.
All right. How about
fish lips is better, by the way.
Yes, fish lips was good. How about this one? They guessed boozing my shore excursion.
Booking my shore excursion.
That would be the correct. So she just missed one letter there, but that would have been a prize puzzle. So I think they would have went to Italy on that one. So that's kind of a big.
But boozing letter. Your excursion, where was she at mentally?
Boozing my shore excursion.
She was thinking about that vacation, and she was like, "First thing I'm going to do is booze my excursion."
Exactly. It sounds kind of fun.
It does too.
But you got to go with the common sense. This is Wheel of Fortune. All right, next one. This is a Johnny Cash song.
Oh.
So I will give you the last one. I blank the blank by Johnny Cash. And she guessed
Walk the Line.
Walk the Line would be correct. She guessed I Have the Wine by Johnny Cash.
Isn't a Johnny Cash fan?
Again, if you don't know the song, sometimes it's got to be in your genre too. So that was that one. Next one. They guessed self-potato.
So I'm going to say self-portrait.
Self-portrait would be correct.
There's some letters in there that are missing and in the wrong place for potato to work.
Potato generally ends with an O.
Yeah, but and less letters.
But sometimes, do you ever do that in life though? You get so locked in on one thing that you maybe think it, even though you know that's maybe not the right answer. Like, I don't know. Maybe I could see that for a certain. But self-potato, you might want to. You might
go beyond that one.
Yeah,
like what's likely to be the answer?
Could be next after that one? Yeah,
Plan B.
All right,
self-potato.
And this one's pretty good. She guessed bridal and gold shower. Which, if you don't know what a gold shower is, I don't ever want you to know. and maybe don't Google it, but she guessed bridal and gold shower.
Is it cold? Because I don't know.
It is.
I don't know
cold.
that phrase.
I think it's one of those two things, like bridal shower, cold shower. Like, do you ever, like, go take a cold shower, cool off a little bit, kind of.
But a cold shower is kind of like boozing. Like, it could be a good time for some.
for a very small portion of our percentage of our population.
I wouldn't connect it with bridal though. Bridal and golden showers are probably, well, I guess it could.
You never know.
I'm not a
Maybe that was
person.
a match on Tinder, and you go from there. So
to each their own, buddy.
Yeah. And you can never forget this one. I almost wore the shirt. I just didn't today. But we were a category on Jeopardy once before on the map, Youngstown, Ohio.
What was the clue? I knew
it was on the map.
Okay.
On the map. So
on the map.
I thought that was kind of cool. So, and obviously it was around Christmas time. There's some Christmas trees in the background. So
nice.
Youngstown, Ohio once made Wheel of Fortune. So I thought that was pretty cool. So that will end the game show talk. I do have 2 or 3 more real quick sports topics for you that I just want your opinion on. So let's pretend you are the most successful head coach of men's college basketball. You just won 2 college back-to-back championships at the University of UConn. And the Los Angeles Lakers are preparing to make you a very lucrative offer. Let's just say it's 3 times what you're making now. So let's say at Connecticut, you're making very comfortable living. Let's just say you're making $5 million a year. I'm not sure what his salary is. But the Lakers come in and say, hey, we got Anthony Davis. We think LeBron's coming back. We got a couple other nice group of players, but we're going to pay you $15 million a year. You don't have to deal with recruiting. You don't have to deal with this and that. What would be your answer? 5 million, 15 million. But at UConn, people love you. You are you're in, I believe it's Storrs, Connecticut. You have turned that program back into the blue blood that it is. You're going to probably lose maybe 4 games a year. And you're probably going to be in the national title hunt every year that you're there. What would you do?
Well, let me ask a data question, because I feel like in professional, there's a higher turnover. So if I was fearful that if I didn't play out in 1 year, then I would be my one and done kind of thing, I might stay where I'm at, because I feel like college, it's more solid. Like, you have a job and you can have a job for the rest of your life if you wanted to.
Sure.
Does the data support that?
Yes, but your contract would be guaranteed. So if it's a 4-year, $60 million contract, if you're fired after year 1, you're getting every penny of that.
I take it.
You take it?
I take it.
You're taking the more money, guaranteed money, but maybe higher stress, more difficult job.
I would get it out of the way, work your 4 years, put that scratch away, and then bow out on a high note.
And this, by the way, is just speculation. He is their top candidate. Nothing's been settled, but Dan Hurley is right in the mix for the Lakers job. If he wants it, I think it's his.
And my only exception is that you see some of these college coaches, they get in a program that's underdeveloped, and you don't want to go out on that, where if you have a winning program and that could be your legacy versus going into something. Where he's going, though, I don't feel like that would be the case. But if it were, I would totally change my answer.
I would actually say, if this was football, to take the money and go to the NFL. Because there's a lot more you have to deal with managing like 80 to 100 players, NIL, recruiting, all this other stuff. But in basketball, I think I'm staying at UConn, and I like where I'm at. But I mean, obviously this is his decision and he's got a big one to make. But the Lakers are one of the prime brands in all of sports as well. So I guess you got to think of the cachet that comes with that too. And you've already won at the highest level of college. Maybe he wants to, take the next mountain peak and see what he can do.
So what are your odds on it? What do you think?
I would say, this is a cop-out answer. I think it's 50-50. I think it really is a coin flip. If it were me, I would stay at Connecticut and use that to see if I can get some more money out of UConn. Be like, all right, you're paying me 5, maybe let's get 7.5. I'm happy here, and less stress. We've won back-to-back titles.
Now's the time to do it, though. On a high note,
yeah, exactly.
The competition of stealing you away.
Look at his college football counterpart. Harbaugh bailed as soon as he could, went to the NFL. So we'll see if that rings true with him. I know you talk politics on your WKBN show sometimes. So I just had to show you this tweet that I saw, and this made me laugh literally out loud. Your thoughts on this? Candidate 1, convicted of 34 felonies. Candidate 2, dementia. Candidate 3, brainworm.
Totally the best we have to offer. Like, there literally isn't anybody better than this. So just suck it up and vote for the brokenness that is humanity. Congratulations.
And I like to keep my politicalness close to the vest. Like, I'm right wing on some things, I'm liberal on some things, I'm conservative on some things, but I'm moderate on most. I like to, what I call, have just an open mind, which not many people do anymore. A lot people vote party lines or one party voters or whatever. But what would you like? Do you think, because we know it's candidate 1 or candidate 2 without saying names, is candidate 1 or candidate 2 making it to the end of their term?
That is a
to 2028. Are they going to live long enough to fill their term? Because that vice presidential choice might be the most important in history. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah, I don't know.
So you asked me percentages on that. What's your odds on whether it's Trump or Biden make it to 2028?
Biden, I'm giving him an 80% shot that he's not president if he gets elected, and it will be vice president or swapped out at the last minute.
Okay.
Trump is a weird one because I don't know. I don't think he's on the verge of death, but I don't know if he can govern well from a cell. So I don't know. That's a quandary one there.
And Robert Kennedy, hope you get that brainworm taken care of. We'll leave it at that. So 2 other quick notes.
And by the way, if I had my choice, I would go with 0 of those and put AI in charge. Like, what's the worst that it could do? Use a coin flip.
Realize that humanity is the worst thing against humanity, and then just blow up humanity.
Yeah, it could be a coin flip. It's like, invade whatever. Coin flip, go or go no.
Done. Dead, everyone. Hey, if everyone's dead, no problem.
That's it. As long as it's applied equally.
The Earth's a better place without us. Okay, this was from Talking Baseball, and we have another player. We had a basketball player banned for life. This player was banned from baseball for life. I'm going to probably brutalize his name, but how would you even pronounce that? Tucupita Marciano or something. But he bet on 25 Pittsburgh Pirates games while he was assigned to the team, but was injured during all of them, and he lost all of the bets.
He is the worst gambler ever.
So he gambled more than $150,000 on baseball and won just 4.3% of his MLB bets. And now he's banned for life, so he's no earning potential in the sport he played. So don't bet on the sport you play. Don't.
And if you do, just win. I mean, at least if you're going to take the lifetime ban, be ahead. Exactly. 51% is all I'm asking.
Exactly. All right, Joe, I got 2 more things.
Okay.
They're going to be real quick because actually we're right on the hour mark here. But Ohio State just had a new commitment. Now, this is a verbal commitment. He can't officially sign till December, but his name is Bo Jackson, and he is a running back. How cool is that?
Yes.
Do you know what his real first name is? You wouldn't know his real first name. His real first name is Lamar Jackson. So Lamar Jackson, Bo Jackson. He's from Cleveland. So either way, you can't go wrong with this kid. He was born to play football. I just thought that was a cool note. So,
not a relation, no
relation that I am aware of. But I mean, Bo Jackson and Tecmo Bowl, my God,
the best.
We got to get a Tecmo Bowl game going at some point. That was one of the most fun games of all time. And then finally, a Cleveland Browns note to end. The Browns extend Kevin Stefanski and Andrew Berry.
Good.
This is the first time that has happened since the team was brought back in 1999, which shows you the absolute crap fest they were working with for so many years. But Andrew Barry, Kevin Stefanski finally are getting the job done well enough where, hey, you're getting another contract. You're sticking around. We want consistency. We want continuity. And that's the best thing the Browns could ask for. So good stuff. Let's end on a positive note there. So that's all I got. Anything else?
No, that's all good.
Right.
Like, that's a good stopping
Let's
point.
hope maybe we gave out some Jeopardy answers today.
There's 3 things you will answer right. A whale's penis. You what
24 wedges.
24 wedges on a Wheel of Fortune.
Robert Parrish wore knee braces.
And Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
Yeah.
There you go.
The end.
You guys are set.
And goggles. All right, everybody have a great weekend. We will see you next week.
Thank you for listening to this show on Youngstown Studio. This is original Youngstown content. Feel free to share our videos and tell your friends about us. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow us on Facebook. Thank you for your